Coming this fall from Power of Pod Productions, Burden, Season 1. Listener discretion is advised. In 1991, Billie Jean Letterman died from a gunshot wound to the head. She was just 21 years old. Billie lived with her 2 young daughters and her husband just outside of Texarkana, Arkansas. Her manner of death was officially recorded as undetermined, which means that no conclusion could be reached as to how she died. Her husband Michael told police she shot herself, but so many details about this case just don't add up. We know Michael was abusive to Billie. We also know he waited more than an hour that night after the bullet entered her brain to call 911 for help. As Billie lay dying on the living room floor, he called over family and friends, cleaned up the house, and took a shower.
The way Michael was acting and stuff, it didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Police said they just didn't have enough evidence to solve the case. The scene was scrubbed. Friends and family were said to have stonewalled the investigation. And all the physical evidence, even the gun, has somehow disappeared.
I would agree with the sheriff and everybody else who's looked at this case over the years. It stinks as far as the level of suspicion is concerned.
It seemed as though the truth of what happened would never be told. But then someone started talking. Billie's daughter, who was in the house and 6 years old at the time, came forward to say that she saw what happened that night.
I remember him fighting, and I remember her screaming, and she was fighting back, and I remember him dragging her across the living room floor with that gun pointed at her. And he didn't shoot her execution style. I mean, they were fighting over the gun, but he had gotten it down. He had held it to her head, and I remember he was holding it up against the side of her head.
I'm attorney Stephanie Harris. Join me as I search for answers in this case, combing through the evidence and talking to police, forensic experts, and those who have been impacted by Michael's violence, including the women he's been abusing in the years after Billie Jean died.
He was a monster. I mean, he was evil.
He pulled me through the house by the hair of my head, slammed me on the bed, kicked me with his steel-toe boots.
She was running down the road trying to get away from him, and luckily he missed that time.
Michael shot me. Yeah, knocked my legs out from under me, and I hit the ground on my hands.
And he stops on the bridge, and he grabbed me and he hung me over the bridge.
Will there finally be a break in the case?
Mom didn't kill herself. It was murder.
That's on Season 1 of Burden, a new podcast coming this fall from Power of Pod Productions. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and have the first episode delivered to you the day it's released.